On Wion Edit tonight, we're looking at an issue that is increasingly taking center stage, the interest of top politicians in brokering and mediating peace. This is now becoming a trend, an easy way to grab attention and gain prominence. There are specific multilateral forums for this purpose, and yet leaders cannot resist the urge for those fleeting minutes of glory. One lure is the possibility of a Nobel Peace Prize. And here, I want to tell you a story from 1990. The then Russian president, Mikhail Gorbachev, was given a Nobel Peace Prize for his role in bringing the Cold War to a peaceful end. Now, we're not taking anything away from Mr. Gorbachev, but the fact is that the Soviet economy could not sustain communism. So he had a role, but he was neither responsible for the fall of the communist dictatorship nor for the end of the Cold War. He just happened to be there. The second example is from 2009. When the same Nobel Peace Prize was given to Barack Obama for his quote-unquote extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples. He'd been in office for what, barely a year? The same Barack Obama under whose rule the US entered Syria without invitation. The same Barack Obama who oversaw the bombing of Libya. Nobel Peace Laureate. Recognition comes with pretension. It's easy to pretend to be a messiah of peace and get noticed. The European Union is another example. The whole bloc was awarded Nobel Peace Prize in 2012 for its quote-unquote contribution to peace and reconciliation. Last we checked, most mediations spearheaded by the EU have failed and the disputes are still alive. And inspired by all these paradoxes, the likes of Imran Khan and Donald Trump want to play peace brokers despite their dodgy reputations. Trump even said it in so many words that he deserves a Nobel Prize for his efforts in mediating peace, where we ask. Now, the problem here is that geopolitical conflicts have history, and the burden of history makes it difficult to settle these disputes. But leaders, egged on by the overestimation, this approach is highly problematic. History is full of examples. Take, for instance, the case of India trying to broker peace between the Sri Lankan government and the LTT in the late 1980s. It ended in a civil war, bloodshed, the death of a former Prime Minister of India. So should no global leader play peace mediator? That's not what we are saying. What we are saying is this: if there is a conflict, the best that a third party can do and should do is bring the warring factions to the negotiating table. And once that is done, it is for the stakeholders to decide the parameters of peace negotiations, not for third parties. What explains a person like Imran Khan trying to broker peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia? This is just a vain attempt at image building, a PR exercise peppered with hashtags. I want to end this with India again. New Delhi always insists that bilateral issues should be discussed between two parties involved, not just in Kashmir, but in most cases. Such a stance is rooted in common sense, because right now we live in a world where leaders want to poke their nose into issues that should least concern them. Allowing peace brokers like Khan and Trump to guide peace negotiations like these are at best futile, at worst dangerous.